Hello everyone! This episode will be about the new hot 20 vulnerabilities from CISA, NSA and FBI, Joint Cybersecurity Advisory, CISA AA22-279A, and how I analyzed these vulnerabilities using my open source project Vulristics. Americans can't just release a list of 20 vulnerabilities most commonly exploited in attacks on American organizations. They like to add geopolitics and point the finger at some country. Therefore, I leave the attack attribution mentioned in the advisory title without comment. But I like such lists of vulnerabilities for a number of reasons. Such lists of vulnerabilities show which CVEs need to be addressed. This is the most obvious. If you notice vulnerabilities from the list in your infrastructure, start fixing them as soon as possible. Such lists of vulnerabilities show the software and hardware products that are most important to monitor. This means that your vulnerability scanner must support this software very well. Make sure you can verify this. Such lists of vulnerabilities show groups of software and hardware products that need to be monitored first. Usually, these are products that are available to a wide range of users and are inconvenient to upgrade. Such lists of vulnerabilities show the types of vulnerabilities that you need to pay attention to first. Such lists of vulnerabilities are relatively compact and can be easily analyzed even manually. I can't help but notice that the quality of the advisory is not very high. For example, the description of vulnerabilities was automatically taken from NVD, including this: Microsoft Exchange Server Remote Code Execution vulnerability. This CVE ID differs from CVE 1, CVE 2, CVE 3, CVE 4, CVE 5, and CVE 6. Not very informative, right? This joint advisory was released by 3 big, serious organizations. They could work harder and write a unique text for each of the 20 CVEs, but no one seems to care. Here is a list of all vulnerabilities from the advisory. Of course, I didn't deny myself the pleasure of using this list of CVEs as input for my Vulristics vulnerability prioritization tool, just to see how Vulristics handles it and tweak Vulristics if needed. Here is the command I used to generate the report: Python 3.8 Vulristics py, report type CVE list, CVE project name AA22-279A, CVE list path joint CVEs, CVE data sources ms nvd vulners attacker kb, CVE comments path comments.txt, rewrite flag true. The link to the full report is available in the blog post. So now let's see what's inside. Vulnerable products. If you look at the list of vulnerable software and hardware products, then some of them obviously should have been included in this advisory, because lately there have been a lot of publication about how attackers exploit the vulnerabilities in these products. Apache HTTP server, Apache log4j2, GitLab, Microsoft Exchange, Confluence server, Zoho Manage Agent AD Self-Service Plus, Pulse Connect Secure. The second group of products. For them, there were also publications about attacks, but it seems that these are more niche products and are less perceived as targets for attackers. BigIP, Citrix Application Delivery Controller, VMware vCenter, Cisco Hyperflex HX. And finally, there are quite exotic products that apparently reflect the specifics of American IT. Sitecore Experience Platform XP, Hikvision Web Server, Apache API SIX, Buffalo WSR. Criticality of vulnerabilities. Vulristics has identified all vulnerabilities as vulnerabilities of the highest criticality level, urgent. Vulristics found public exploits for all vulnerabilities. At the same time, if you look at CVSS, then there is this. All vulnerabilities 20, critical 16, high 4, medium 0, low 0. So if you are using CVSS for prioritization, don't forget about the high-level vulnerabilities. Detected types of vulnerabilities: remote code execution, command injection, arbitrary file reading, authentication bypass, path traversal. As we can see, all vulnerabilities are obviously critical, except for one: path traversal. Path traversal in Citrix Application Delivery Controller, CV2019-781. The description of the vulnerability leaves no room for detecting another type. An issue was discovered in Citrix Application Delivery Controller ADC and Gateway 10.5, 11.1, 12, 12.1, and 13. They allow directory traversal. The same time is indicated in the advisory AA22-279A. Citrix ADC CV2019-781 path traversal. And only in the description of the exploit we can see that this is in fact RCE. Quote, "This tool exploits a directory traversal bug within Citrix ADC netscalers which call a Perl script that is used to append files in an XML format to the victim machine. This in turn allows for remote code execution." End of quote. Well, this is another reminder to us that we should not do hard filtering by vulnerability type. It is also not a good idea to trust the description from NVD. The type of vulnerability may change over time, and no one will make changes to the description in NVD. In some cases, Vulristics can help to more accurately determine the type of vulnerability. For example, in the advisory Apache HTTP server path traversal, in Vulristics report remote code execution Apache HTTP server. Why? Because we can read in the description, if CGI scripts are also enabled for this aliased path, this could allow for remote code execution. End of quote. But of course, Vulristics is not a silver bullet. It is difficult to come up with something here other than manual analysis of publications about vulnerabilities and exploits. I also cannot help but point out that for some of the vulnerabilities, Vulristics determined the types of vulnerabilities more correctly in accordance with the description. GitLab remote code execution, command injection in GitLab, because which resulted in a remote code execution. Sitecore XP remote code execution, command injection inside Experience Platform XP, because it is possible to achieve remote command execution on the machine. VMware vCenter server arbitrary file upload, and in Vulristics remote code execution in VMware vCenter, because may exploit this issue to execute code on vCenter server by uploading a specially crafted file. F5 BigIP remote code execution in Vulristics, authentication bypass in BigIP, because undisclosed requests may bypass iControl REST authentication. Apache HTTP server path traversal in Vulristics, a remote code execution in Apache HTTP server, because, quote, this could allow for remote code execution. Apache authentication bypass by spoofing. In Vulristics, remote code execution in Apache API SIX, because, quote, is vulnerable to remote code execution. Buffalo WSR relative path traversal. In Vulristics, authentication bypass in Buffalo WSR, because, quote, allow unauthenticated remote attackers to bypass authentication. End of quote. Therefore, do not rush to trust the vulnerability type from the CISA known exploited vulnerabilities catalog and take it into account when prioritizing vulnerabilities. And this is it for today. Please subscribe and leave your comments. Bye.